So when I fill out my expense details, no matter what kind of expense you incur, the details are going to be very similar, okay? So you're first going to choose an expense type. And I know that this Rock Mill Tavern expense was a meal. So I'm going to type in meal, and it's going to pull up all the different types of meal expenses that we have. And so I select meals employee because that's what this was, okay? The transaction date, since it came from my corporate credit card, is already populated based on the date that the card was charged. My business purpose is store team lunch. Okay? Vendor description, again, because it came from my corporate card, is already populated, as is my payment type and amount. Now we get into kind of some of the newer functionality that Concur brings to us, and that is every employee will be able to code their own expenses. So if I were charging this lunch against a specific fund, I could search for and select that fund here. In this case, I was not, and I want my expense to hit my default department, which is executive, my default state, which is America, default division, and default program. If I instead wanted to charge this to another state or another department, I could do that just by selecting the drop-down box. Okay? You'll see here I have all of our different states. So if I select Kentucky, now it's going to get charged to the executive department in Kentucky, and I can select a division, Bowling Green, program, independent living. So as you incur your expenses and you know what program you are serving, you'll want to reflect that inside of Concur. Okay? I'm now going to attach my receipt. So I come down to the bottom of the screen and hit attach receipt. And out here, because I took a picture of my receipts with my Concur mobile app on my phone, my receipts are already in Concur for me to select. So I'm going to hit this checkbox. If I want to zoom in on the receipt, I can hit the little magnifying glass and it'll zoom in for me. And I confirm it's my Rock Mill receipt. And I'm just going to check it and hit attach. Okay? I now have my receipt attached to my Rock Mill Tavern expense, and I know that because there's this little receipt icon with a check mark next to it. And if I hover over that, I see my receipt right there. Okay? You will also see that there is this yellow flag that's showing up right here in my expense, as well as at the top of the screen. And what it's saying is, it's prompting us that if this expense contains alcohol or tip costs, that I need to itemize those expenses out. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to my expense details on the right side of the screen. I'm going to hit the itemize button. And it's going to allow me to say, okay, the total amount of this charge was $35.26. And I'm going to be able to allocate a portion of that to the tip. And so I search for tips, and I see travel meals, tip/alcohol. Or if I just search for tip, I get meals employee-tip/alcohol, which is the one that I want. So I select that, I enter my amount of my tip, and I hit save. It now tells me I have $28.26 remaining to allocate, and I put that to the meal because we had no alcohol. So now I come back in here, I select meals employee, I put in that remaining amount, and I hit save. Okay, so I have now properly itemized my expense, and you'll see up top you have my original expense for $35.26. And nested below it, you have the itemizations. Okay? We are asking for tips and alcohol to be itemized because they can't be included in any cost reports or anything like that for our financials, so we want to separate those out wherever possible.
As with any change, there are bound to be some hiccups along the way and some minor adjustments to be made. However, we hope that you have found this brief tutorial helpful. If you still have questions, please review your Concur User Guide. The Concur User Guide is a valuable resource as it contains a great deal of information to help you navigate in this new expense management system. Also be sure to check out our full Concur tutorial and frequently asked questions located on the SAFI YouTube channel. If you find you still have questions after following these steps, you may contact Sandy Fisher or Shirley Hall in the Accounts Payable Department at the SAFI Service Center.